If you're collecting Social Security right now, or if you're about to start, you need to stop what you're doing and watch this video all the way through. Because starting May 1st, a rule change is going into effect that could quietly slash your monthly benefit, freeze your payments, or in some cases, cut them off entirely. And the scary part? Most people have no idea it's coming. We're not talking about a small tweak buried in the fine print. We're talking about changes that could affect millions of Americans overnight. People who have done everything right. People who worked for 30, 40 years. People who planned carefully and counted on that check every single month. And just like that, because of one rule they didn't know about, the money stops. So before you close this video, before you tell yourself this doesn't apply to you, I want you to hear about Margaret. Margaret is 68 years old, lives in Ohio, and has been receiving Social Security since she turned 62. She thought she was all set. Her payments came in like clockwork. Then one morning she checks her bank account and the deposit isn't there. She calls the Social Security Administration. She's put on hold for 40 minutes. And when someone finally answers, they tell her her benefits have been suspended due to a reporting issue she didn't even know existed. It took her 3 months and 2 appeals to get her payments restored. 3 months without that income. She had to borrow money from her daughter just to pay rent. That is not a worst-case scenario anymore. That is becoming the new normal. And with what's changing on May 1st, stories like Margaret's are about to become a lot more common. Let's start with what's actually happening, because I want you to understand this clearly. The Social Security Administration has been under enormous pressure to tighten its oversight and reduce what officials are calling improper payments. What that means in plain English is that they are cracking down hard. They are running new verification checks. They are cross-referencing income, residency, marital status, and financial data in ways they never did before. And if anything in their system doesn't match what you've reported, your benefits can be paused, reduced, or flagged for review without much warning. The new protocols being rolled out starting May 1st put a much heavier burden on the recipient to prove eligibility. That means you, not the government, you. You now have to be more proactive than ever in making sure your information is accurate, up-to-date, and consistent across every government database. If it isn't, you could wake up to a missing payment before you ever receive a single letter of explanation. But here's the shocking part. A lot of the mismatches triggering these reviews have nothing to do with fraud. People are getting flagged because they moved and didn't update their address in time, because they got married or divorced and the SSA's records haven't caught up, because they started a small part-time job and didn't realize how it affected their benefit calculations. These are everyday life changes, and now they're becoming financial landmines. Think about that for a second. Have you moved in the last year or two? Did you update your address with Social Security specifically? Not just the post office, not just your bank, but with the SSA directly, because your mail being forwarded is not the same as your records being updated. And if your address in their system is wrong, critical notices about your benefits could be going to the wrong place right now. You might have a review pending and not even know it. Here's something else that catches people completely off guard. The earnings test. If you are under full retirement age and you are still working, there is a strict limit on how much you can earn before your Social Security benefit gets reduced. In 2025, that limit sits around $22,500 a year. Go over that, and they start withholding $1 for every $2 you earn above the threshold. Sounds straightforward enough, but the new May 1st changes mean the SSA is going to be checking employment and income data much more aggressively than before. If your reported income and your actual income don't line up perfectly, you could be hit with an overpayment notice. And an overpayment notice from Social Security is not something you want to ignore. They will recover that money. They will take it out of future checks. And the new rules make it harder to negotiate a repayment plan than it used to be. Let me give you another example that's going to sound familiar to a lot of you. James is 65 years old, lives in Florida, and he retired 2 years ago. What he didn't realize is that his wife started picking up freelance work after he retired, and some of that income was being filed under their joint tax return in a way that affected his benefit calculation. The SSA's automated system flagged it. His check was reduced by over $300 a month. He didn't get a phone call. He didn't get an email. He got a letter that arrived 9 days after the change had already been made. 9 days. The money was already gone. This is what the new enforcement environment looks like. Fast, automated, and often without the human review that used to catch these kinds of errors before they became a problem. If you're still watching this, I want to take a second and ask you to hit the like button right now. It really helps this kind of important information reach more people who need it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that too. Because we cover this kind of financial news for people over 50 every single week. And what's coming over the next few months is going to affect a lot of people who simply weren't paying attention. Now let's talk about something that almost nobody is warning people about. Medicare and Social Security are deeply connected, and the changes coming in May affect both. There are situations where changes to your Medicare status, your Medicare Advantage plan, or even your prescription drug coverage can trigger a corresponding review of your Social Security benefit. If you switched Medicare plans during open enrollment and didn't realize one of the plan options affected your income-related premium adjustments, that can ripple back into your Social Security calculation in ways that are almost impossible to untangle without help. The premium adjustment is called IRMAA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount, and it's based on your income from 2 years ago. So if you had a good income year in 2023, you might be paying significantly higher Medicare premiums right now in 2025. And if those premiums are being deducted from your Social Security check, that means your net deposit every month is lower than you expected. A lot of people look at their bank statement and think something is wrong. They call the SSA. They get confused. Meanwhile, time is passing, money is being deducted, and nothing is getting fixed because they don't even know what the actual problem is. Here's the part I really need you to hear. The Social Security Administration is also changing how they handle in-person services starting in May. More verification is being moved online. More decisions are being made through automated systems, which sounds efficient. But what it actually means for millions of older Americans who aren't comfortable navigating online portals is that they are going to fall through the cracks. If you don't have an active My Social Security online account, setting one up is more important right now than it has ever been. That is where notices will be posted. That is where you can see if a review has been triggered. That is where you can respond before a suspension becomes something worse. And here's what nobody tells you about those online accounts. If someone else has already created an account in your name, either because of identity theft or a family member trying to help without realizing the implications, you may not be able to create your own. And that opens the door to your benefits being redirected or your personal information being changed without your knowledge. Identity fraud. Targeting Social Security recipients is at an all-time high right now. The new verification changes are partly a response to that, but they also create new vulnerabilities if you're not actively protecting your account. Let's talk about survivor benefits and spousal benefits for a moment, because this is another area where the May 1st changes could hit people unexpectedly. If you are collecting a spousal benefit, meaning your Social Security payment is based on your spouse's work record rather than your own, the new cross-referencing systems could flag discrepancies between your filing status, your spouse's reported income history, and what's currently on file. Widows and widowers are especially at risk here. If your spouse passed away and you transition to survivor benefits, there is paperwork and reporting that has to be done correctly and updated consistently. Any gap in that record, any inconsistency between what the SSA has and what actually happened is now more likely than ever to trigger a review that could pause your payments mid-month. Think about what that means in real terms. You're a widow in your late 60s. You're on a fixed income. That Social Security check is not supplemental income. It is your income, and it disappears for 6 weeks while a review gets processed. What do? Where does the money come from for your medication, your groceries, your utilities? These are not abstract questions. These are the real decisions that real people are being forced to make right now, and after May 1st, more of them will be forced into that situation. There's one more thing I want to make sure you understand before we get to what you can actually do about all of this. The Social Security Administration is operating with a leaner staffing model than it had just a few years ago. Budget pressures have led to reduced headcount at field offices across the country. What that means practically is that if you do have a problem with your benefits after May 1st, the wait times to get help are going to be brutal. Phone hold times of 2 to 3 hours are already common. Appointments at local offices are booked out weeks in advance in many areas. So if you are sitting back thinking that you can deal with this if and when something goes wrong, I want you to reconsider that plan. Because by the time you get someone on the phone and explain your situation and get a human being to actually look at your case, months could have gone by. And during those months, your check might not be there. So what do you actually do right now? The answer starts with one thing. Get proactive. Log into your My Social Security account at ssa.gov and review every single piece of information on your profile today. Not tomorrow. Today. Verify your address. Verify your banking information for direct deposit. Check your earnings record and make sure the years of work that your benefit is based on are accurate. If you see anything that looks wrong, report it now. Before May 1st. Before the new automated systems have a chance to flag you first. If you are still working and collecting Social Security, track your earnings carefully. Know your limit. Keep records. If you expect to approach that threshold, talk to a financial advisor or contact the SSA directly to understand how your benefit will be affected so you're not blindsided. If you receive spousal or survivor benefits, double-check that all the supporting documentation in your record is complete and up to date. If anything changed in your household situation in the last 2 years, make sure the SSA knows about it and that their records reflect it. And if you don't have a My Social Security online account, create one today. Go to ssa.gov, set it up, protect it with a strong password, and enable every security feature they offer. That account is your lifeline if something goes wrong. Here's the bottom line. Social Security is not guaranteed to run on autopilot forever without your attention. The rules are changing. The enforcement is tightening. And the safety net for people who fall through the cracks is thinner than it's ever been. You worked your whole life for this benefit. You paid into this system for decades. No one is going to protect your check for you. You have to do it. Millions of Americans are going to wake up after May 1st completely unaware that something changed and that it changed for them. Don't be one of them. Share this video with someone you love who is on Social Security, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor, a friend. Because the people who are most at risk right now are the people who have never thought to question whether their benefits are truly secure. Your money, your future, your responsibility to stay informed. And we'll be here every week to make sure you have the information you need to protect it.